I stayed quiet for 14 days. I watched, I counted, I planned. But the moment he touched her, patience.
The underground market of Velrath smelled like burnt copper and old secrets. Maya had learned to breathe through her mouth when she first arrived 2 weeks ago, dragged into this shadow world without warning, without permission, without anyone asking if she was ready. She was not ready. She was 16, and she had a history exam the following Monday. And none of that mattered anymore because the world beneath the world had decided she was important. She did not feel important. She felt tired. For 14 days she had watched, listened, and stayed quiet. She had memorized the routes between the iron corridors. She had counted the guards at the eastern gate. 4 at midnight, 2 at dawn. She had studied the creature they called Vorken, the enforcer who wore armor like a second skin and moved through crowds the way a storm moves through open fields. Slowly, deliberately, destroying everything in its path. Vorken worked for a man named Sale, who controlled the underground market with a calm that was more frightening than anger. Sale never raised his voice. He never needed to. He had Vorken. Maya had watched Vorken drag 3 people into the back rooms during her 2 weeks. None of them came back looking the same. One man returned walking sideways, his eyes fixed on a wall that wasn't there. A woman returned without her voice. The third person, a young boy who reminded Maya of her little brother, did not return at all. She had stayed quiet through all of it. Not because she was afraid, though she was. Not because she was waiting for rescue, though she hoped. She stayed quiet because Lyra had told her to. Lyra was the other reason Maya had survived. She appeared on Maya's 3rd night, stepping out of a shadow that had no business producing a person. Silver hair, dark skin illuminated by the soft blue glow that pulsed from the crystal at her throat, pointed ears that marked her as something older than the city above. She had pressed one finger to her lips, handed Maya a small wrapped parcel of food, and disappeared again before Maya could scream. She came back every night after that. Lyra was an archivist, she explained in whispers, a keeper of things that Sale wanted erased from memory. She had been navigating Velratha's underground for 3 years, longer than anyone who survived typically managed. She knew which shadows were safe. She knew which guards could be bribed with small blue stones she kept in a pouch at her hip. She knew that Vorken had a weakness in his left side from an old wound that never healed correctly. She was the most competent person Maya had ever met, and she was also, somehow, becoming Maya's friend. That was the problem. Because now it was the 15th day, and Vorken's enormous gray hand was wrapped around Lyra's collar, pulling her off the ground in the back storage room where they had arranged to meet, and Maya was standing in the doorway with her heart hammering so loudly she was certain it was echoing off the stone walls. "You have been moving through sections you were not cleared for," Vorken said. His voice was low and grinding, like gravel being crushed beneath something heavier than stone. "Sale is interested in knowing why." Lyra's feet dangled 2 inches off the floor. Her expression was controlled. Maya had come to recognize that particular stillness in her face, the one that meant she was calculating at high speed. But her free hand trembled slightly as blue light gathered at her fingertips. "I was retrieving an artifact," Lyra said. Her voice was steady. "Sale commissioned it 3 weeks ago. I have documentation. Sale does not remember commissioning it. Sale forgets many things." Vorken's grip tightened. The blue light at Lyra's fingers flickered. Maya looked at the shelves around her. Ancient pots, clay jugs, glass bottles filled with dark liquid, wires running along the ceiling. A heavy ceramic urn on the shelf directly to her left, roughly the size and weight of a bowling ball. 2 weeks. She had been patient for 2 weeks. She grabbed the urn. She did not think about it further than that. Thinking had kept her quiet for 14 days, and quiet had nearly gotten Lyra killed. She crossed the room in 4 steps, swung the urn with both hands, and connected with the left side of Vorken's armored back. The weak side, the side Lyra had described on the 9th night with careful, precise detail, drawing a diagram in the dust of the corridor floor. The impact shattered the urn. It also, clearly, did something significant to Vorken, because he dropped Lyra immediately and turned with a sound that was not quite pain but was not nothing either. Lyra hit the ground, found her feet in a single motion, and released the blue energy she had been holding at her fingertips directly into Vorken's chest. It was not an explosion. It was more precise than that. A contained pulse that struck the same point Maya had just hit and sent Vorken staggering backward into the metal shelving unit behind him. Bottles fell. Pots crashed. The entire shelf groaned and tilted. Vorken did not get up immediately. "You hit him," Lyra said. She sounded almost surprised. "You said the left side," Maya said. Her hands were shaking. She looked at them with mild academic interest, the way she sometimes looked at things in science class that she understood in theory but found strange in practice. "I did say that." Lyra touched the mark on her throat where Vorken's fingers had been. Already a bruise was forming, dark against her skin. "I did not actually expect you to use the information." "He touched you," Maya said simply. Something shifted in Lyra's expression. It was small and quick, and Maya might have missed it on any other day. But she had spent 2 weeks learning to read this woman's face because it was often the only warning she got before something dangerous happened. "We need to move," Lyra said quietly. "He will not stay down long, and there are guards in the east corridor who would have heard that." "I know," Maya said. 4 at midnight. 2 at dawn. It's currently. She checked the small luminescent dial on her wrist that Lyra had given her on day 5. 3:40. "Oh, 2 guards. We can go east." Lyra looked at her for a moment that lasted slightly longer than necessary. "You have been paying attention," she said. "I have been waiting," Maya said. "There is a difference." They left the storage room at a run, slipping into the shadow corridor that Lyra knew better than anyone alive. Behind them, the sound of Vorken beginning to rise echoed off stone walls, low and grinding and furious.